Hi friends, it's Belinda here from Be Making Joy. Welcome to episode 68 of What Brings Me Joy, mostly knitting. And in this episode I have a newly published pattern to show off, which also comes with another finished object. And then I started a new project that I'm excited about. And my daughter and I went last week to try a new craft that led to some new acquisitions to show you. So I'm excited to get started. I am recording this episode on Friday, February the 20th, 2026. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, I'm so glad to have you back. I'm recording in the afternoon because I was watching the Olympic hockey games this morning. It's been a cold week here in Calgary, so I've been staying at home and watching Olympic hockey and curling. Yeah, fun. Anyway, my finished object this week is mittens for my husband. And this is the pattern that I released this week. I published it both on Ravelry and on Etsy. I call them the Priscilla Service Mittens. And here also are mine you've seen previously in previous episodes, and my daughter's. So now all the three of us that live at home have matching pairs. If the other two girls want some, I'll have to get their hand sizes from them. So yeah, I'm trailing other yarns there, sorry. My mannequin hands, I have a full-size mannequin sitting in my living room that my daughter purchased years ago when a clothing store in Calgary was shutting down. So I took her hands off for modeling because my husband's gloves are too big for me. They're kind of too big for the mannequin too. But anyway, flip top mittens. Written for fingering weight yarn to a gauge of 7 stitches per inch, which for me was on a 2.75 millimeter needle. So yeah, they're too big for me. But to free your fingers for working outside, perfect for fingering weight is perfect for spring and fall. I also found mine to be perfect driving gloves when it was so cold this week. These ones and mine are both done with sock needle yarns from Ancient Arts here in Calgary, my local yarn store. And Ancient Arts also ships worldwide, so I will link them down below. This colorway is the Roaring 20s. It's sock needle yarn. And this colorway is the Bee's Knees. And Ilana's is in yarn from sea turtle fibers in the colorway Rainbow Bright. Sea Turtle is also another hand dyer here in Calgary that has an online shop. Unfortunately, I think I read currently they're only shipping to Canada because shipping costs are astronomical. But yeah, I will link both those shops in the show notes down below. And I'm going to put mine on again so that you can see them again. So they start at the cuff. And they're written for 8 sizes. From a 5-inch hand circumference, small child's, to a large man's, a 9-inch hand circumference, and they go up about 1/2 inch each size. So mine is a 7-inch circumference, which is size 5 on my list. My daughter's is a 6.5 inch, which is size 3 on my list, but I had to make length adjustments for hers. I didn't label them child, adult, etc. because there's some overlap between circumference sizes from an adult to child, and hand lengths vary so much. So I've written in the pattern where to check your measurements and adjust your lengths. And my husband's is my size 6, which is a 7.5 inch circumference. Yeah, so a big thank you to all my test knitters. I'll pop in some pictures of their projects too. And a thank you to my tech editor, Melinda. So that. And my next finished object is dishcloths. So returning viewers will know that I've been working while I'm on the treadmill on dishcloths. And this is my pattern design of the Three Sisters Mountains. This one is free on my blog, on my website, bemakingjoy.blog. The Three Sisters Mountains here in Calgary. This one's not blocked yet. I'm going to block it simply so that I can snug out the corners and straighten up the lines to make it nice and pretty for gift giving. I've got a collection of them started in my box here of different colors, ready to give away in the end of July when we have our International Jehovah's Witnesses Convention here in Calgary. So that's an ongoing project. Every time I finish one, I start another one. I've had these on the go on the treadmill. I have another one on the go in my purse for emergency knitting while we're out and about, but I haven't had to work on that. I haven't had a chance to work on that in a little bit. So that's finished object number 2. This one is in a worsted weight yarn. The yarn is Lily Sugar and Cream on a cone in a worsted weight. And I've also done some of these in DK weight cottons. So the pattern works for both. The only difference is the finish size of your dishcloth is going to change based on what yarn you use. That's all I have to share about that. I need to clean up the mess I've started to make and go grab my WIPs. So WIPs, because feedback from test knitters is so valuable for me as a designer, I'm giving back by test knitting for another designer. So that's my project here. Her name is, sorry, but let's put that down so I stop making noise with it. Her name is Kim Schaefer. I had never encountered her before, but I found her on yarnpond.com, which is the website that I use to conduct my own test knits. And it's a t-shirt that she is calling Sailing Breezes Tea. And I am using Sock NATO from Ancient Arts in the color House Orchid. I had 2 skeins left over from when I designed the Tracy Cardi, which was within her estimated yardage. But, of course, when you use a different yarn than the designer suggests, your yardage can change a bit. And my road gauge is tighter than hers, which uses more yarn. So I had to buy another skein. Just as I was starting the ribbing on the cuff, I was running out. So I bought another skein, and you can clearly see that the dye lot is different, which happens with yarn, with hand-dyed yarn, especially when like 2 years have passed in between buying them. So the color match is off, so I couldn't blend it in. But the best place to change a color in a garment is when the texture pattern changes. So a different color for the ribbing I think is going to be okay. And that same yarn will be used for a trim around the sleeves and then the neck. So yeah, it's on pause right now. Her test deadline is not until the end of May, or the beginning of May, end of April, which is very generous. So I'm taking a breather to reconsider. I'm trying to decide, and I'll put pictures in. I'm trying to decide whether to stop knitting at her 1 inch of ribbing as she suggested, or to add another inch of ribbing, because it is short and boxy. So I'll put pictures in, and maybe you can give me some feedback. Do you think I should add a little bit more length to it? It will grow a little bit when it's blocked, but not a ton. So yeah, I am going to set it aside for a bit while we ponder that. The trim around the arms and the necks are all 1 inch. But would it be okay to have a 2 inch ribbing along with that? Actually, maybe I should add notes into the yarn pong and see what she has to say on the matter. So that's on pause for now. And then I decided it's time to start knitting with my favorite color again. Maybe I was going through a purple withdrawal. So I pulled this one back out. This project I started, I think, in late December, but I'm noticing I didn't put the date in my Ravelry notes. This is the Jean Cardigan pattern by Joanna Baum. And let me put it on around my shoulders the right way so you can see how we're looking. I did just switch it to a longer needle so I could do this awkwardly with all my hair. So there, I've got a couple more repeats to go before separating for the arms and body. And I didn't do a gauge swatch. I just went with my gut, figuring that swatching in this pattern is just as easy to start knitting and check your gauge after that. So I think it's going to be wonderful. So the Jean Cardi pattern by Joanna Baum, and I stumbled across it watching another podcaster, Michelle from Easily Knitfluenced. And I decided to join in and do it too because my middle name is Jean. Yeah. The pattern itself is a long document to read through, but if you understand raglan shaping, and yeah, there's the raglan marks up this line. If you understand raglan shaping and know how to read charts, then once you get your place, it's easy to go. It's a repeat of the fan and feather lace pattern and a garter stitch section. It's slow going, but fun. I'm loving the color, of course. Purple is my favorite color. The yarn is a yarn from my stash. It's, oops, a polyester Karen Cloud Cakes. I would have bought this from Michael's when it first came out because of the color, of course. So it's going to be a cardigan, so that shouldn't be overheating in the polyester in a cardigan. And yeah, I'm loving it. So yeah. Two more repeats, and then we get to separate for the body and sleeves. And I think it's going to be very roomy, which is perfect for a cardigan. Now, when I finished the Mittens pattern, I cast on something new with those 2.75 millimeter needles. I wanted to participate in the latest knit along by the podcasters Noelle and Kelly of Knits and Pieces. They do a Tuesday night live chat on YouTube. Now it's about every second week they're doing it. And they also host a group forum on Ravelry where they regularly conduct make-alongs and with prize draws. They have always a sock make-along on the go year-round. Plus they have other themes that they'll run for a couple of months at a time. And the current theme is Never Have I Ever. So that means to try something, a new technique, something that is new to you. So I decided to try a new sock technique, in particular a new heel technique. Now I have plans to try the Fliego heel, but I haven't cast it on yet. First, I stumbled across this one, the Carousel Socks, pattern by Katie Koito. I'll pop the name up on the screen. She's a designer in Finland. And yeah, these are really unique. They start at the heel. This is the heel. And it's done in the round circularly. So it's increasing until we get to the point where these edges will meet around your instep from heel to instep. And then this section will get grafted together. This section will become a foot. This section will become a leg. Now I'm still a few more rows around, a few more rounds away from where I can start doing that part. Still working on the heel, round and round she goes. Having fun with it. I will link this pattern in the show notes down below. And I will tell you that I am going to double dip with this project too. Or triple dip, I guess. I'll put it in Kelly and Noel's sock. Knit along, make along. I'll put it in the Never Have I Ever make along. And I also follow another podcaster, Jana, of the Purl Together podcast, is doing a knit along of this particular pattern. And she's giving some tutorials for it on her channel. So, fun. I am having fun with it. The Carousel, and it has a Finnish name first that translates into Carousel Socks. The Finnish name is Hipsulation Carouseli? Which, yeah, round and round like a carousel. I love this kind of construction, this kind of knitting round and round and increasing as you go. So, I'm getting close to the next step. So I should have lots more to share on that next episode. So, there's other projects on the go, of course, but I haven't touched them in the last month. So let's put this aside and move on to my WIP count update. Where's my notebook? In my last episode, I had 7 works in progress. Every dishcloth that I finish, I immediately start another. And when I finish Dan's mittens, I started the Carousel Socks. So my WIP count stays at 7. And I will get started on that Fliego heel. I'll have to cast on another project soon for the next airplane trip, because next week I am tagging along with my husband on a business conference. So I want to get a fresh pair of socks started for that flight. I'll start the toes and be ready to do round and round up the foot on the flight. And take my instructions for the Fliego heel along with me, and hopefully that goes well. So currently at 7 WIPs, expected to be 8 WIPs in the next couple of days. And then we have my calculations for my grams in, grams out update. So my goal is to make a dent in my stash this year. Call it a stash down. But I'm not telling myself don't buy any more yarn. I just want to try and be knitting more than I'm buying. So how did February go so far? January was good. January we were up. I used 223 grams more than I bought. In February, I've finished Dan's mittens, Ilana's mittens, 3 dishcloths. That's it. That's all the finished object. I'm only counting, I'm only weighing them when they're finished. So that was 213 grams, but I bought 300 grams of new yarn this week. So I'm behind 113 for February. Subtract that from the 223 for January. I am still ahead for the year by 110 grams. In grams out over grams in. So I don't know if you're interested in those numbers, but I am. Yeah. So those 3 acquisitions, those 3 new skeins of yarn. One was for the t-shirt that I showed you. And the other 2, Ilana and I tried something new. We went to a try it and diet. I can't remember the exact wording. A class given by our local yarn store, Ancient Arts Yarns, where we dyed 2 skeins each. So, here's Ilana's. I won't take them out of the bag I won't unravel them, but this one was hand painted colors on top of a skein that was already dyed with this blue speckle. So she added orange and green. And then the other one here was dyed in water in a sheet pan. And I think she stirred it with yellow dye and then added green and purple sprinkles to it. And my beauties, first we hand painted. So I will go ahead and unravel this for you because let's look at it in its full glory. Oops, get it over there. So we all started with the same base of the blue speckled. And then we hand painted other colors onto it. So that red and purple, I hand painted on. And I love how it turned out. It's going to make some interesting pulling effect. Or maybe I'll put it into a pattern where you do a planned pulling, where you do a special stitch when you get to the color. We'll see. But you know, it's always a long time between when I buy yarn and when I actually use it. But we'll see. It'll probably hang on my wall first for a while. So that's that. I will hang it back up after. Oh, let's just put it here. And then we dyed in a sheet pan of water. And, whoops, my inspiration was Butchered Gardens in BC. I have a tea towel on the wall. There it is. That the friend that I went to Butchered Gardens with bought me as a souvenir. And so my intention was to start with a green yarn base, and you can still see some of the green in there. So I started with the green dye and then added speckles of red and purple. The same reds and purples that I had in this yarn, but they blend it with the green a lot. So it didn't get the effect I wanted, but I still think it's beautiful. If we get in through the layers, we can see some of the green, but most of the green just kind of disappeared. So I think it's beautiful, and I think together these two skeins kind of go together. Like maybe I could make something with this one first, the hand painted one, and then do a border with this one. We'll see. But like I said, first it will hang around a while for me to admire. Okay, don't get tangled. Stay there. And cat, do not come, please. So I think that is all I had to share with you this week. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my work, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, use the comment box below or message me on any of my platforms. You'll find me everywhere as Be Making Joy. And yeah, I would love to hear from you. I would love to know what you're making this weekend, month. Whatever your craft is, knitting, crochet, diamond dotting, jigsaw puzzling, beading, sewing, painting. There are so many wonderful crafts out there. So find what you like and go make some joy.